What's up, SWAC Smoke?
Hear me?
227. Big Soldier, you might have to mute your mic for a minute. Get a lot of background noise.
Okay.
I hear something coming in the background. But anyway, I'm gonna give everybody a second to kind of get in here. But yeah, we're glad to be back here with you guys. We all know the camp opening up in the SWAC. Pretty much everybody should be in camp by now. That's the football teams and the band. Everybody getting ready. You know, we only a couple weeks out from the SWAC season kicking off. Tonight we're gonna discuss football camp. We're gonna discuss the SIAC versus the SWAC matchups. I think that's gonna be some interesting discussion for us to have tonight. And then we got our preseason band rankings that I put together for us. Hopefully, I plan on doing this from week to week as the season goes on. So I know y'all ain't gonna agree with me, but you know it's my poll, and y'all can make y'all comments in the chat. I appreciate to hear y'all thoughts on that. But what you got going on, Big Soldier?
Nah, nothing much, man. Almost back to Jackson. Had a little day with the family. How everybody doing in the chat? We live.
Yes, sir. We live. We back again. You know, like I say, camp's opening up from Daytona Beach all the way to the Prairie in Texas. We got the bluff down there in Louisiana, all the way up to the hills up there in Alabama at Alabama A&M, and everybody in between. It's been kind of quiet. It's been a quiet like preseason, in my opinion. A lot of coaches not saying anything, not saying a whole lot. I think everybody, you know, going to just let the actions speak for themselves on the field and go from there. So I'm curious just to see, you know, how these camps shake out. Hopefully, everybody can come through the camp with no injuries and things like that. We got another quick video that we're gonna run, and then we're gonna go ahead on and start discussing the fall camps. Go ahead and run that for me.
Jumping out the gym while they falling on a lowered rim. Graduation days, I was coming for the glory then. Blessings rained in, pouring in. I need more of them, yeah. Give it up, send it up, It's imperative, it's a must, Match your debit cards, his and hers. Show them how you did $1 billion in the clutch.
Yes, sir. There you go. You see, we got them rallies out there already getting it in right outside of Bragg Memorial Stadium, putting in that work already early, trying to kick off the Queen Gray area in a big way. They, like I say, they're not the only ones that's out there putting in that work. I saw highlights of Jackson and Coach T.C. Taylor talking to his team. I've seen other highlights on Instagram of teams that's all out there just trying to get it kicked off and get it started. So I know it's hot in all of our states down here. So, you know, I'm hoping we can all get through, like I say, with no injuries, and everybody can come out fine, and we can have a nice, even start at the beginning of the season. I know I want to give a big shout out to the 220 Club, the Eddie Jackson 220 Club down at FAMU, for once again sponsoring the cooling chamber for the players to recover after they come out of that heat off the practice fields in practice and things like that. So I don't know, but they order this big trailer that they go in, and it's kind of like a big cold room, like a big refrigerator that they go in and they get a chance to kind of recover and cool down. No longer are the days of us taking ice baths out there in the kiddie pools and things like that. So we're trying to make small improvements there at FAMU in that regard. But I know I saw earlier this week that Bama A&M, they got like 7 quarterbacks there in camp. So, while we all assume that it's going to be the starter, the guy named, his name slips me right now, but he was injured last year. We assume that he's going to be the starter, but they got 7 guys in there. So it's going to be a heavy competition down there at Alabama for that starting quarterback job. And, that's a big position for them. I think they're going to go as their quarterback goes, and as well as how they defense, if they're able to build on the defense that they had that didn't do so well for them last year, especially after the quarterback went down. You got any comments, Big Soldier? I think I lost Jamie. He traveling in the car. But anyway, we're gonna move on. We can move on to Grambling. Grambling is another team that's got a quarterback controversy going on. Well, I shouldn't say controversy. I should say competition going on down there. That's going to be a big spot for them, finding them a quarterback to see who's going to fill the role for them this coming season. Like I say, as they go, the quarterback situation will go for them as far as their win totals and things like that. They had one of the better defenses in the SWAC last year, but the offense left a little bit to be desired out on the field. So hopefully they brought in RJ Johnson from FAMU. He's as a HBCU Player of the Year award finalist, watch list, or what have you. So, they're expecting big things from him, as well as the other quarterback. I'm not sure what his name is, but they got a competition going on down there as well. Another quarterback question is in Baton Rouge. Nobody really knows. From my understanding, they got 7 quarterbacks down there in Baton Rouge. And it's been kind of quiet. Marshall Falk hasn't been a big presence on social media and things, which is not necessarily a bad thing for them. That don't mean good or bad. They're gonna have to show and prove on the field. They got a big matchup the first week against Alabama State. So we're gonna, you can be quiet and keep it under your vest all you want and do all the SWAC Smoke things like we say behind your players and not giving them numbers and things like that. But come the 29th, everybody's gonna be on display. Everybody's gonna be able to see exactly what you got. Let me see who else we got going on. Bethune, they down there working again down at Daytona. They want to continue on the momentum that they got. They ended the season off last year, the second half of the season. They played well. They had some tough losses against Jackson that they lost in the fourth quarter. And they had a big victory we all know and talked about down in the Florida Classic. And they lost some players, but they've been picked to come in, I want to say 3rd in the SWAC East. And they look to even improve and do better than that. So I'm curious to see what they have. Y'all all know my wife is a Bethune-Cookman graduate, marched in the band and all that good stuff. So she'll be going down there to the game. She got season tickets. So I'll be able to get some updates on them on what they have going on down there in Daytona. Mississippi Valley, T-Buck, he's been talking a good game. They look to improve and work on getting more victories than they had last year. They have one of the tougher schedules in the SWAC, but I'm curious just to see, like we all feel that everybody right now is feeling positive and optimistic about their team and where they are. But come that first week in the season, we'll all be able to have a better insight and see what we got, what the teams have, and then we can go from there. And then after about week 3, week 4, once we get into SWAC play, we should have a good hold on what the teams are going to bring into the season. Now, one team that I do have a question about, and they they lost a lot of players. That's UAPB. They quiet. You never really hear a lot about them and what they have going on. So, that's just one of the teams that just seem to fly under the radar. I don't know if it's because of the location of their school or if it's just it's just the nature of the fan base or what the case may be. I'm still fairly new to the SWAC space by being only in here really a good 5 years with the Rattlers. But they feel positive about themselves. They look to add on to what they did last season as well. They had a couple of victories over. I want to say they beat Alcorn last season, so they're looking forward to doing that. What's good, Crooks? I see you in there. I got something for you a little bit later on. APR, you still stuck on that APR thing? I hear you. Y'all was 1 point away from it, so yeah, you might need to hold your tongue a little bit on that right there. But I ain't gonna get in
Ain't
there.
gonna do nothing. I certainly know they ain't gonna do nothing this year, man.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing.
3 and a possible. They got playing with them spades numbers, man.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna talk about Southern a little later on. I got some curious questions about them a little bit later on. D-Lo say they don't know anything down there at UAPB. I thought you might have some answers for me, D-Lo 08. Thought you might have give me some insight on what's going on. If you heard anything, who the starting quarterback, what the defense look like, or what kind of offense you gonna run, put it in the chat. Let share a little bit with the SWAC, with your SWAC brethren, so we can know.
One thing about them guys, they always keep a lot of stuff on the wraps with UAPB. They always seem to get good players to come in, but they can't keep them. That's their problem. Is maintaining those good players to come in. Just think about it though, Jerome. A lot of them guys would have stayed.
Mm-hmm.
We might be talking about UAPB a little different.
Exactly.
The thing about it, Mekhi Higgins will stay. The good receiver, Giovanni Gibson stays. Shoot
a lot of them guys went D1 too. They went D1 too.
Mm-hmm.
They went up and they got good playing time too. So hopefully they can get that situation figured out. I want the whole SWAC to be good as a whole. I want FAMU to win every game in the SWAC and every game against anybody they play. But as a whole, I want the whole conference to rise up and be what I think it can be, and that's a power conference. I mean, we already know we're a power conference fan wise and things like that, and the SWAC wins on social media, but I want some of that to translate to victories on the field for the SWAC.
I agree. I want us to win some of the out of conference games,
right?
Against some of these lower D1 teams as well, not just the SIAC. Some of these FBS, the lower tier, definitely lower tier, at least be competitive. If not, if we don't win, at least lose by 7 or 14 points,
Right. Well, that brings me to my next team, which is the reigning SWAC champions, Prairie View. Coach Jackson, he's been talking about how they want to be more than just a good HBCU football team. They want to be a good FCS football team, and that's across the entire FCS. So he went about the way of scheduling games against that type of competition that you're talking about to kind of put the SWAC on the map. And in all honesty, I'm pulling for him to do that. I want him to go in there and represent the SWAC well, preferably win those games, because the high tide rises all boats. So that's what we want to see, Like I say, just when he come to play us, I don't want him to win, but that's all of us. That's all of us when it comes to our team, and so that's a team that basically he's starting over from scratch. Brought in 65, 75 players or so. So he's basically building that team all over again. He's doing it like a college football dynasty. or even a Madden Dynasty where he's doing the fantasy draft every season. But
Yeah,
that's
all right.
but that's the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we got Alcorn. I shouldn't say Alcorn. We got Alcorn. You know, and they said they don't have any excuses. They done talking. You know, this Coach Washington third season there, and you know
When
they
you
got
say coach,
is it Cedric?
coach, he said Coach Washington. You mean to
Is it
say
Cedric?
Coach
Cedric
Cedric Thomas?
Cedric
Yeah,
Thomas.
yeah, Cedric Thomas.
Cedric Thomas. It's his third season there at Alcorn, and you know he pretty much said it ain't no more excuses. They looking to make some noise in the SWAC, and like I say, that's gonna be good for everybody. You know, we got to go up there. I
I
believe
think
this season.
Alcorn has that potential to make a little noise in the SWAC. They make a good line. Bring back returner and Jalen Tober, the quarterback.
Yeah,
Added a few pieces. They actually, I think they got a receiver on correct from UAPB. That was pretty good last year, and he's added to that repertoire of wide outs and skill players. And you know, Alcorn. One thing about it, they're gonna keep a running back. That's a running back factory,
right.
and that's been like that for years. So hopefully, I mean, we'll see what that matriculates to.
Well, I know fam got to travel up there, and we had a tough time against them. They came down to Tallahassee last year for our homecoming game,
Mm-hmm.
and that game was in the balance. I mean, late into the fourth quarter, you know. So I don't see anybody having no pushover matchups right now as we start out. You know, like I say, 2-3 weeks into the season, and we see how the teams really shake out, then we'll be able to do a better assessment, you know. And then we got Alabama State again. We all know they're the preseason pick to be SWAC champions. You know, I think people forget that they beat Prairie View last year, you know. And so, you know, they're another team that's right there on the doorstep, ready to knock the door down and carry on through. And we're gonna we'll see what they have and Southern have that first week of the season. That's gonna be a
good matchup.
It's gonna be a big one. I won't be there. I won't be there. Speaking of that, let me tell you where I'm gonna be. Fortunately, I got something to share with y'all. Y'all know I always got props. I'm gonna let y'all know where I can be, and y'all can find me right here. Y'all can find me right here on the 29th, right here in parking space 674 and parking space 572, right there at Bragg Memorial, baby. We're gonna be right there.
Albany, right? Albany State.
Yeah, we got Albany coach going against his old team. Yeah, so you know that's gonna be interesting. Last season, shoot, had they had one more drive, they might have won that game. You know.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they gave y'all a run for y'all money last year, man. I mean, the guys gonna definitely get up this year because they really want to try to embarrass Queen. You know, first year coach at FAMU. You know, they kind of still salty that he left.
Yeah, I imagine
gonna
so.
Try to knock them off.
I imagine so. So speaking of that, I think that's a good segue into our next conversation. Go ahead and run that next clip, the SIAC versus the SWAC, and we can get into that conversation about those games that we got coming up. You got me, C. Wells? He's searching for it. I'm gonna look here in the chat, try and catch up. Fruit going in on JSU as always.
One of his favorite receivers. Saquon wouldn't finish the game, but their ground game would step up big.
Is the goal on this 3rd and 6. Brew looks. Under pressure, escapes the pocket. Now looking, throws it down the field. He's got Hall. There it is. E.J. Hall. Touchdown, Tuskegee.
All right, guys. I think the clip lagging a little bit, but we can see they got some players down there on that level, and we know they got some coaches as well. Shoot, a lot of our coaches come from that level that are on our teams now, including Quinn Gray. Coach Jackson came from Valdosta State, which is not in the SIAC, but he's from the Division II, and we all know Chennis Berry came from down there. So, you know, it's not that far of a difference between the D2 teams and the SWAC teams, in my opinion. It didn't get to show in the clip. I don't think it came up. But there are several teams that lost to SIAC teams recently. And I want to say Bethune lost to Clark in 2024. I think I know
Grambling almost lost to Kentucky State, and I still think they lost. I think they cheated the ref. The refs took that game.
That was on that fumble play.
That wasn't no fumble.
Yeah, that was on that fumble play last year.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson took a tough loss. I know that's been a while back.
Yeah,
to Kentucky State.
Gosh, juice, trash, those years. But you know, like with those the games. The SIAC, they the big teams that's on the bottom tier. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they always catch the bottom tier SWAC team, but the upper echelon teams usually take care of them, you know.
Handle their business against them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, we got teams this year, got a lot of teams got games against them, SIAC teams. I know, let me look at it right here, right quick. I see Jackson got Edward Waters and Tuskegee on their schedule. FAMU, like I say, got Albany State on the schedule. Southern got Kentucky State. Kentucky State is one of the potential teams that can win a game, you know, like you were saying, you know, as far as we know.
When they picked to win the SIAC, I think Kentucky State was.
I think, no, the predicted order finish, they got Kentucky State 5th. But they got Edward Waters picked to win the SIAC.
Oh yeah, you're right. I thought.
Yeah, but
I think they got Tuskegee. I think they got Tuskegee at 2, if I'm correct.
Benedict, Tuskegee at 3, Albany State at 4, Kentucky State at 5, Allen at 6, Miles at 7, Fort Valley 8, Savannah State 9, Clark.
We ain't gonna even go to the bottom of the last 2.
Well,
Maine College ain't got no business playing football.
Well, you got Clark, Central State, and Morehouse. But shoot, Alcorn got to play Miles, and we saw Miles in some of them clips. They was making some plays last year. Now, whether that's going to translate over into this season is, you know, that still remains to be seen. Grambling got to play Clark and Central State again. We just saw how they kind of struggled last year against Kentucky State. So that's, you know, that's up in the air. You got UAPB got games against the SIAC. They got Morehouse and they got Central State. That's a possible right there in my opinion.
Right.
Then you got Lane and Tuskegee. They played Bama State. So I know that's the Turkey Day Classic with Bama State and Tuskegee. So in those kind of classic rivalry games, almost anything goes. You never really know what's gonna happen. So
I think, in my opinion, though, I think UAPB gonna be the one that gonna mess around and lose. I think Morehouse got enough to possibly get them if UAPB ain't careful.
Yeah, well,
and I'm gonna pick another one. I think Kentucky State gets Southern.
It depends if Southern come out of that. I think that's the second game of the season for Southern. So it depends on how they come out of that game against Alabama State.
Because they beat even in history, last few years, Southern has struggled with a couple. They struggled with Savannah State for a while because Savannah State was leading at one point in that game.
Yeah.
And shoot, I think that might be the hiccup game. Would be Kentucky State and Southern, and UAPB and Morehouse. And Jackson even had to watch out with Edward Waters because you take them lightly. I mean, they could possibly upset as well, but I think the bottom tier SWAC teams are the ones that's going to struggle with the SIAC teams. But everybody in the upper echelon, even I don't think FAMU going to have a problem with Albany State, honestly.
No, I ain't gonna say they shouldn't have a problem with Albany State. They took the quarterback, they got the tight end, they got a defensive lineman, they got a receiver. They took a lot of those players that were on their team last year that won that division last year are playing for FAMU now. So you would think that they wouldn't struggle against them, but like I say, anything can happen. And with it being FAMU first game, I wouldn't be surprised if we go into it at half still somewhat close, but I would expect because the coaches should have some type of familiarity with Gray and his play calling and things like that. But you would think at some point attrition would take over and just the sheer numbers should put FAMU and talent over the top in that game. I feel the same thing.
Do you think Isaiah Knowles is going to be a better quarterback than what FAMU had in the previous years?
I do. I think Knowles is going to be equal to or better than my man. What's my man? They transferred in, little short kid.
RJ. You talking about RJ?
No, I know he's gonna be better than RJ. I assume he's gonna be better than RJ, but I think he's gonna be better than.
You think he'll be better than my man Daniel?
Daniel, yeah, Richardson.
Daniel Richardson.
I think it's Richardson. Yeah. I think he's gonna be equal to or better than, just simply because of him being. This gonna be like his fourth year playing in Quinn Gray offense. I read earlier this week where he's saying, he know the offense like the back of his hand, and he is an extension of the coach on the field. So that's going to be a big advantage for FAMU offense by them bringing the tight end and the receivers, like I said, out there. So I think the big question for FAMU will be the defense. Will they be able to fix that defense? In my opinion. And
I don't think the defense, honestly, like last year with FAMU, I don't think the defense was that bad.
It was
bad. I just think it was just the situations and formations they were put in.
Nah, defense wasn't.
I'd say their defensive line was weak.
And the DB and the defensive backs. They couldn't. FAMU defensive line couldn't adjust. They'd be shifting. It seemed like they would shift right out and create the hole every time. And, we'd be in the stands and, we could almost see the play coming in. It's like they would shift right open and open up the hole for them. And then the same thing with the DBs. I don't want to call out no numbers, but, the DBs was getting burnt. And that played all the way up into the Florida Classic. Last game of the Classic, it got burnt. So, but as far as Jackson and Edward Waters, Jackson gonna have too much talent for Edward Waters, and by then,
so too.
Yeah, Jackson will have played Tennessee State, so they, either they gonna come in there on a high or they gonna come in there upset. Because if they lose to Tennessee State, then they're gonna be extra focused in that game. And it's the first game in Jackson and all that aspect. It'll be a big crowd, So, but if I had to choose what the upset would be in that SIAC SWAC matchup, it would be Southern, in my opinion. And I
agree.
I think Kentucky State is a more powerful team than people are giving them credit for. Yeah.
They had probably one of the best offensive performances last year from a statistics standpoint. Because they used to be a triple option team, and they've come out of triple option going more to sort of a spread. And man, Kentucky State scored a lot of points.
Teddy Brown said Grambling should have lost if Grambling would have got the ball back with a chance to score.
No, I mean that wasn't no fun, but they knew they cheated Grambling.
Yeah, that wasn't no fun.
I mean, the game shouldn't even went in overtime.
Yeah.
Kentucky State should have beat them flat out straight.
Yeah. UAPB, that's another one that, got the chance to lose. They got Morehouse and Central State. Morehouse isn't that a Bethune old coach up there in Morehouse? I can't think of who it is.
Coach out at Morehouse.
He used to coach
Terry Sims. Yeah, Terry Sims, yeah. He coaching that.
Yeah. So, that's gonna be an interesting game for them. We don't we were just talking about how we needed the SWAC conference to win when they quote unquote play up. We also got to get them to win when we quote unquote playing down if we want the conference to stay strong and be strong. So Brooks say we crazy by Southern losing. Sims at Clark, not Morehouse.
We telling the truth.
Sims at Clark, not at Morehouse. He say Sims at Clark, not at Morehouse. Okay.
Right. Yeah. One of them at Clark. My bad.
So Clark.
Shout out to Teddy Keaton. He should still be coaching at Morehouse. I mean, not Morehouse, but Clark Atlanta. But
Clark
got
Grambling. Clark got Grambling. Yeah, yep. Clark got Grambling. So that depending on how the Grambling quarterback situation shake out, that might be the loss for them. That might be a chance.
I think Grambling defense will hold their own in that game.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Grambling's defense will definitely be the one that keeps them from losing that game because Grambling defense wasn't half bad last year. They had a good pass rush. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback last season. That secondary still is it's kind of top tier. It was one of the top tier units in the SWAC. So I think that'll help them out in those type of games. When you have a great secondary and that front line, that's the only thing you really need when it comes to a defense.
Yeah. They say Teddy Brown say Grambling had the lead going into the fourth, so they had to score to tie it up. I don't know. I ain't watched the whole game. I just saw the ending with the strip fumble, and where he was able to return it and take it back to score, and that's what put them over the top. That's all.
That's why I remember saying that it was they didn't blow the whistle because you reviewed that, Jerome.
I think I did review that.
We reviewed that clip, and the whistle should have been blown.
I think we did do that, yeah. If I remember.
I mean that play, and then he just stood the ball, and it should have been blown. And none of that play should have been blown, did.
They saying if Southern run the ball against Kentucky State, they win the game. Well, that's the formula for everybody running the ball, and winning the game.
Southern should still have a good running back in Holly and Mike Franklin's still there, right? from the transfer from Jacksonville State.
Who, at running back?
Yeah.
They got the boy Holly.
Yeah, Johnny, I know Holly's still there, but it was another dude behind her. Mike Franklin was a pretty decent back for him, too.
Yeah.
That
D-Lo,
transferred from Jackson State. I mean, the Jacksonville State.
D-Lo say, in his opinion, UAPB and Morehouse shouldn't be within 14 points of each other.
I wouldn't be surprised. If UAPB do squeak it out, it'll be a close one.
Yeah, he said the coach need to get fired if that's the case, and they need to bring in roll with an interim the rest of the season.
Well, that's probably gonna happen with UAPB. I won't be surprised. I told you I don't think that dude gonna make it to October, bro.
I ain't gonna put that on nobody. Shoot, if Colson can make it through, anybody can make it through.
Yeah, well, you put it in that case, yeah. Yeah.
Colson made it through the whole season.
Well, shout out to Alonzo. You'll make it the whole year, my guy. But yeah, if you December 31st, you got to go out them folk facility.
Yes, sir. Well, you got anything else you want to add on to the SWAC SIAC matchup?
No, I think we pretty much hit everything that needs to be hit on. Jay, as long as SWAC tighten up in them games, they should be okay. But I think it's gonna be one in a possible that's gonna just ruin it for everybody.
They say how good of an offensive line coach is Donald Penn. Well, if he is good as if he can coach half as good as he played, then that offensive line is going to be formidable. From what I heard, they got some big dudes down there, and Penn, he was if y'all remember when he played for the Rams, he was a big, aggressive dude. So I'm sure he's going to kind of bleed some of that over onto his ball players, and it just. Like I say, it's just whether they'll be committed to stick with the run, especially if Kentucky State happen to get up a lead on them down there in Baton Rouge. Now that's the fan base that's kind of sitting on pins and needles, in my opinion. That's. I mean, I ain't saying that Falk is gonna get run out of there, but they don't want to see him come off to a slow start, especially if they lose to Kentucky State, and then we all know the game against Alabama State is going to be a struggle game for them just by the fact that it's Southern first game out the gate with a new coach and new system and all that kind of stuff, and a new team being put together. So, to come out of there 0-2 is going to be would be tough for them to get off into the season. Brooks say the O-line is mean. We'll see. We'll see. He say loading the box ain't loading the box ain't
Brooks say until they spot that ball. I don't believe nothing with nobody. I don't believe none of the coaches. I believe a lot of them lying. But we gonna find out.
Grambling got the best quarterback room in the SWAC. That's debatable right there. That's I don't know.
Ooh.
Grambling. He said Grambling got the best quarterback room in the SWAC.
Hey, there's a lot of cap. I don't remember any Grambling quarterback on the SWAC preseason list.
Well, R.J. Johnson is he up for offensive player of the year in one of them polls or somewhere.
Cap.
I'm just,
that's cap.
That's what the people see. That's what
that's what that man poll says, but I call cap.
His stats was outstanding.
From a stat standpoint, he looked good. He didn't turn the ball over very much, but
he didn't take that many risks either.
Trace a Smoke from Bama State better than R.J. Johnson. Don't argue with me with that one.
Yeah, well, I would say that Alabama State probably has one of the most proven quarterback rooms in the SWAC because they got guys that have played, for various reasons and started, all the way down to the quarterback. I want to say one of them moving back to receiver this year.
Kareem King moving back to receiver. They say he gonna really show out this year.
Yeah, so I kind of think that, I would lean towards them having the best quarterback room in the SWAC, at least the most proven quarterback room in the SWAC. That's just how I would lean towards them. But I don't know. Is everyone still in here? Everyone, you in the chat? We got our next section gonna come up. I know you're gonna be eager to see this. Oh, he say Kentucky State has a receiver coming back. SU might be in trouble. Alabama A&M and Bama State have the best quarterback rooms in the SWAC. Well, I agree with the Bama State. Alabama A&M, just because they got 7 don't necessarily mean they got the best. But I know they brought a lot of guys in, and a lot of those guys that they brought in have playing experience. Same thing down at PV. We don't mention PV a lot. I think they kind of go fly up under the radar, even though they the champs. But he brought in a lot of quarterbacks down there too, and a lot of them have Division I. Had played at Division I. They all got experience. I heard him talking earlier this week, and he said they got a fierce battle. Their quarterbacks even live in practice. He said he don't want to wait until the season to see how their quarterback take a hit. So and with Coach Jackson, you gotta, until somebody knock the battery off his shoulder, you gotta take what he say and believe in what he say. You know what I mean? So that's just we got to just wait and see. They say Grambling got RJ Ashton, a 4-star Jacoby. Don't forget Grambling true freshman Benoit is back, who went 2-2 as a 17-year-old. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Who Grambling open up with? They got a big game the first of their season. I'm not sure who they open up with. Let me see.
I know I'm looking forward to North Carolina Central and Texas Southern. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I really think Texas Southern got a shot at beating Central. I really do.
Well, that's another coach that talking good. Oh, Grambling played Clark the first game of the season. North Carolina Central coach is another coach that talked the talk and pretty much kind of walked the walk. He's been calling out the SWAC schools. He want to play more and more, SWAC opponents. So, I think he got a little chip on his shoulder. So he gonna go down there, trying to pull out a victory for sure to continue his his last few SWAC matchups he's won. I know he came to Tallahassee last year and put some on FAMU. He won that Celebration Bowl a couple years back. I can't call offhand who they played, other SWAC teams that they played since then. But I know he said he's made a couple calls with different ADs in the SWAC, and it's been hard for him to get a game. So we'll see. Brooke going in on McCoy at TSU and talking about their quarterback situation. But TSU can run the ball, they may be a power running team. So, that first week of the season is going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. But go ahead, C. Wells. Run that band ranking video. We can run that real quick. Brooke, I think you're going to get a kick out of this right here. I think you'll like that. Hopefully the video run a little smoother. Don't skip on us. I hope. But yeah. Can y'all hear me? Jamie. You got me? Hello? Jamie. Well, the video froze up on us. So I did a quick band ranking for the preseason. Mind you, this is my opinion. So I had number 1, I had Jackson State. Number 2, I had FAMU. At 3, I had Southern. At 4, I got Texas Southern. At 5, I got Alabama State. At 6, I got Alcorn. At 7, I believe it's Prairie View. At 8, I think it's I think I had Bethune. At 9, I got no, at 8, I got Alabama A&M. At 9, I got Bethune. I got rounding it off, I got Grambling and UAPB. That's my preseason top 5 picks. I wish the video would have played so y'all can see them in succession. But what you think about that, Crook? No, he got a comment on that right there. He's still talking about football. Jamie, you back? Can't hear. I lost him. I think it lost out. But yeah, that's my quick preseason poll on band on the band situation this year. I know that I'm curious to see what Alabama A&M is going to look like with their new hire. They got their new band director. They brought back Hamer. I'm curious to see what Alabama State band is going to look like this year with their new hire. They got a new band director. I want to see what direction they go in. They were one of the top bands in the SWAC last year. I'm also curious to see what Mississippi Valley is going to do. We all know they brought in a new hire as an assistant band director, and he's been making a lot of noise in the band community. So I think this season is going to be one of the more competitive seasons for SWAC bands this season coming up. Brooks say fan band should opt out the season. I know you would like that because you don't want to see them boys, but you ain't gonna get that lucky, Brooks. You ain't gonna get that lucky. And I got Jackson State. I picked Jackson State right now to be the top band. You know, in my opinion, Jackson State, but they the best band in the stands as far as stands bands go, and they in the top 3 as far as field shows go. So I kind of combined the field shows, giving more weight to field shows than I did stands in my band ranking. That's kind of how I did my ranking. And my top 3 bands, Jackson, FAM, and Southern, all 3 of them bands the past 3 years have been in the Band of the Year competition, representing the SWAC. Those 3 bands represented HBCUs and the Michael Jackson tribute, things like that. We all know the noise that Texas Southern has been making with their band, and I mean they're right there on the cusp of being one of the, if not the top band in the SWAC. They're right there. To me, it's just they're right there under Jackson as far as stands competition goes. It's just their field shows. I think they could tighten up a little bit here and there. Just could be a little bit sharper for me, in my opinion. And like I say, I don't know what Bama State gonna do. I don't know what kind of direction this new band director is gonna take their band in. And y'all already know Alcorn got my favorite, the Golden Girls, so I got to have them up in there. UAPB, I got them picked last because they just, I don't really know anything that they really noted for. You know what I mean? They got a quiet presence on social media. You know, I know we featured them last year in one of our halftime breaks. We played UAPB in the stands, but you know, they band to me is like one of the quieter bands. They got a nice size, and they sound nice. And the times that I've heard them at different Battle of the Bands and things, but I'm still waiting on them to have that signature breakout moment. And Bethune, they sound good. We just need them to do more, and that's just the consensus in the band community when it comes to Bethune. I got FAMU at number 2. FAMU at number 2. Yeah. Yeah, I got FAMU at number 2. They do more than make stick figures, Crook. They do more than that. A&M has a new band director. Yeah, they do. They got a new band director, and they brought back Hamer, Southern Pass band director. He's going to be an assistant. So, everybody expecting big things from them this season. That the matchup between them and if they play Southern on the schedule again, it's going to be a big band matchup. I know Alabama A&M play Jackson. That's going to be a big band matchup, and so I think this season for the bands is going to be off the chain. I'm looking forward to that just as much as I am the football season. So I'm gonna try and keep that ranking going, and we'll go through that from week in and week out, and we'll adjust it accordingly how it goes. Right now, if your band could be low, but it's preseason. It don't matter. It's just like being all SWAC preseason in football. It don't matter to the end of the year and see where your band fall at. But with that being said, we right at the hour mark. We having a few little technical difficulties. I'm gonna see if I could get C. Wells to run that first video for us one more time, and take us on out of here. Hopefully he can get that. But check on social media for us. Like, share this podcast. We working on things. We trying to incorporate the videos and do more than just looking at our pretty faces of the talking. What you say, Jamie? You back?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I had to pop in and out. Sometimes the audio wouldn't work out. I don't know, technical difficulties,
Yeah. So I just ran through my rationale on how I rank the bands and things like that. We got a big band matchup. We're gonna see right off the rip. We already kind of know what Southern gonna bring, but with Alabama State and their new band director, I'm curious to see what they're gonna bring, and we'll see that right off the rip, week 1.
Okay, who's their band director?
I know he's an alumni of Alabama State. I should have wrote down the name. Y'all know I ain't good at names, bro. Come on now. If it ain't got nothing to do with FAMU, I got to write it down. And I do have a job and stuff, but he I expect their band to be good. I don't expect them to fall off from where they were last year. I know he's a young dude. From the pictures that I've seen. So I'm curious he going to interject a different energy into their band. They already got a lot of moving parts in their band. So we'll see. The co-pilot talking about his FAMU band suspended. Ain't no who suspended.
What about tonight? I'm Mr. Wrestling.
Ain't nobody suspended, bro. Y'all want them to be suspended. They ain't gonna be suspended. Co-pilot, who you like? Who co-pilot like? What band you like? What school you run? I'm curious. Yeah, Hamer is at A&M now. He is at A&M. That's why I think I got them picked at 7 or 8. But if he does what he does, they can easily jump up high in the top 5, top 4, possibly. Well, it's going to be hard to crack that top 3-4 position to me, especially in the first 1 year. I'm sure they end up putting in work right now as we speak. Brooks say everybody over FAMU. FAMU really got Crook shook. Boy, he always be shook by FAMU. The band have him shook. The football team have him shook. Volleyball team got you shook. Softball team got you shook. Baseball, we shook you up, pick you up, and turned you around. So I understand. I feel it. I feel you. But man, you got anything you want to add, Jamie? He didn't
No,
lost.
I don't have anything to add. Right now, man. I think we done hit everything that need to be hit.
Peasy, Bond left Valley. Yeah, they left Valley, but they brought in the dude, Deontay Kennedy. He had an outstanding high school band, and it was just a matter of time before he got a job at a university. And I don't know if you ever
because they say he can
heard of him, but he
change the.
He pretty good. He write pretty good. So we'll see what they're gonna do too. I think he's gonna probably bring a lot of people with him from Memphis. I think that's what his band was. His high school is out of Memphis. So he'll probably bring a lot of his students with him down there. And if they do that, they're gonna be right there on point. Yeah. You know about him then, I see. Yeah. That's right. But anyway, it's been real. We'll be back. I got to check out. I want to say we'll be back in 2 weeks. It'll be 2 Sundays, not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. I think we'll be back again. Hopefully, we can get the video situation worked out for y'all. If not, I got the videos. I shared some of those videos that I showed that we were going to show today. I shared them like in the Rough in the SWAC, and HBCU bands. I think I shared them on Facebook. If not, you can see them on my YouTube page, Shako, SHAKO. So I have some of those videos on there, and then I started another YouTube page called Lushland, and I shared. I've been storing some videos on there. So if you want to see some of those videos that I made with the band raking, you can go to that. That's Lushland, LUSHLAND on YouTube. And right now, I don't think it's about 2 videos up there, but I got that. And then, like I say, the other video is on Shako, SHAKO, Shako on YouTube. And Crook, I know you like that page. I got like 5 years of FAMU band videos on that one for you, so you can go on in there and have your good old time and enjoy yourself. But having said that, C Wells, you wanna try to run that last video and see if it works? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and log on out of here. What you got anything, Jamie, you want to say? No, he going out again. All right, guys. So like I say, share the podcast.